Spills. Welcome back to Day Spills Tea. I, of course, am the lovely Day. Last night's reunion for Love and Marriage Huntsville for season 3. That was a good reunion. Like, that's all I can really say. I don't know if I was more entertained by that last 5 or 10 minutes between Martell and Melody, or the fact that it looked like Tisha definitely used Miss Wanda's stylist, because this hair and this feathery dress mess, woo, child, to get her. Anyways, before we jump into the episode and my thoughts about some of the things that went down, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, or maybe you hit it later after you decide if you like me or not. Hit thumbs up or down. Don't make me no never mind. Just interact with me. Give me a little life and a little energy. Make sure you leave some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on this first part of the reunion. And then if you haven't subscribed, get with the program. Subscribe, ring the bell, show up next week when I post the next video. Okay? It's that simple. Anyway, so Tisha, I love you. You're so beautiful. But honey, this hair, it was not hot. Why are we doing this? Like, was the theme Supremes? Like, I mean, did Miss Wanda insist on styling you? Like, really, what had happened? I don't know. I'm not gonna stay on that though. But anyway, so the episode basically starts out and we get Kimmy and Maurice came in first. Kimmy, I thought, looked spectacular, but I'm team Kimmy, so I'm gonna probably always be biased about her. Martell comes in and Carlos makes some jokes about his teeny tiny suit. It was teeny tiny. Like, there were many moments where he was sitting and I was like, okay, his crotch is definitely gonna split. I used to think it was because he was having laundry issues, but clearly that's just the way he likes for his clothes to fit. And then Melody came out and she looked amazing. We saw on Instagram that her dress was actually being made by Rico Chappelle. So that was pretty dope and I was happy to see that. I loved the dress too. I thought it was great. So a lot of them are concerned as to why Carlos is actually hosting the reunion. And he's like, he wants to make sure that the right questions get asked because he knows where all the bodies are buried. And he wants to make sure that the right people answer them. I knew from the moment we saw that he was hosting that this was going to be a good reunion. Like, they were going to have to go ahead and be honest, and they weren't going to be able to hide or do like how Andy lets the housewives do and half-ass answer the questions or give some old evasive BS that doesn't mean anything. I knew we were going to get a little more honesty and transparency than what we usually get. And I feel like we did get that. Especially when it comes to the conversation between Melody and Martell at the end of the first part. So anyways, Carlos talks about how he understands that the feedback from like Twitter and Instagram and all of that can be mentally damaging, which of course, like, I mean, people can be nasty. And I realize that while I don't consider myself to be a nasty individual, I don't like Tiffany. And I'm vocal about it. I don't like Wendy Osefo, and I'm vocal about it. I don't like Candace. Like, you know what I mean? And so we all, as spectators, we talk about who we like and who we don't like. We tell why we like or don't like them. And although I kind of feel like this is my thing that I do now, I do feel some type of way about recognizing the idea that it can be hurtful. So, you know, obviously they chose to be public figures and they know that there was going to come some scrutiny with that. But I could only imagine what it's like receiving it on a large scale. Some people I think are unscathed by it. Some people I think just really don't care. Like your Kenya Moores and your Lisa Rinnas. They don't mind being the bad guy at all. They don't mind, you know, people talking about them negatively. But I could imagine that someone like Tisha, you know, might be really affected by it. And it seems that she is. So that's, you know, it's kind of sad, even though I'm still like joking about her looking, you know, this reunion look. It wasn't hot. So yeah, so we learned that Tisha has like removed herself from Twitter because she just was like, it was just too much. Like the comments and everything was just too much. And sometimes it's important to take that step back if you need to. Like, I am a huge Facebook fan because I'm old. You know, us older folks, we still like Facebook. Don't judge us if you like, you know, under 40. But I just recently had to remove Facebook from my phone for my own mental health. I didn't want to see any more killings and, you know, all sorts of violent crimes and things like that that are all up and down my timeline. And so I get why Tisha removed herself from Twitter. But that's not even a good part of the reunion. Anyway, so he goes on to ask Melody and Martell if they regret doing the show. Melody says no, because it has opened doors for her. She feels like it's been a great platform for her and all of this. Martell, of course, regrets doing the show. And it's kind of like Marsau said several episodes ago, because Melody is still winning, Martell is losing, and that's why he don't feel good. That's why he's affected. Of course, he feels like, and this was crazy to me, he feels like the show cost them the marriage because she was listening to comments and things like that from the viewers about them. Where's the part where you're responsible because of the things that you did that gave the viewers something to say? Like, he still takes no responsibility for where he is in life. It's so crazy to me. Like, it's a little bit scary knowing that people exist like this in this world. Like, he's walking around like a normal looking human being, except that his clothes are real small. But he's walking around looking like a normal human being, but his mind is just like... So it's the viewer's fault. It's the show's fault that y'all didn't work out. It's not the fact that, as we learn later, like during the pandemic, while everything is shut down, while everybody is sheltering in place, meaning at home with their families, that you're still out dipping and dabbing in other stuff. Anyways, so he says that she asked him about being on TV 7 or 8 years ago, or he asked her what she wanted to do, and she said she wanted to be on TV. So I guess we're supposed to give him like kudos because he went along with it for her or something. No, because she got on TV, which was her dream, but then you humiliated her, which was not her dream, and you continued to try to humiliate her because it feeds your own ego and because you don't want to lose. So at another point, Carlos asked Martell, did he ever think Melody would leave him? And I think all of us know that the answer is no. No. That's why he is so hateful towards her now. It's because he feels like no matter what I do, no matter what I have done, you don't have a right to leave me. I mean, it's so crazy. Like, we all know that we've heard him trying to get her back, but then he'll try and clean it up and say, I only want to be back with you for the kids. No, you want to be back with her because you feel like she should never have left you, like you should have had the right to leave her. You even tried at one point to spin it like you were the one who went and filed for divorce, like you were the one who actually wanted to be divorced. And we all know that that's not true. We all know that that's not true. But he can't stand the idea of losing. And that's that N word, that narcissist word, where I'm not a therapist and I'm not like an expert, but if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Anyways, and so Carlos asked if he felt like he created the Melody as Holt brand, and he said he feels like he helped expose it and he helped bring it out of her or whatever. Okay, fine. That's what spouses do. Kudos to you. Like, I think we could say the same thing about Melody helping you in your building world, which obviously you can't do alone. Okay? Anyways, he says he feels like they could have worked through his cheating if it wasn't for the show. Boy, shut up. Yeah, you probably could have. You literally probably could have. But would that have been what was best for Melody? Would that have been what was best for your children? To watch their mother constantly in pain, constantly feeling some type of way about daddy constantly being gone to be with some other chick? Would it have been better for you to keep living this double life and making more and more children with this other woman that you won't even tell your children about? So yeah, okay. Maybe y'all could have worked through your cheating if it wasn't for the show, but would that have been the best thing for anybody other than you? But you don't care about that. Anyways, so where am I? I lost my spot. He feels like the reason that they broke up was because Melody kept reading the comments and he was telling her not to. And I just think that that's just so funny. He just should hush. Anyways, so Martell says, I'm probably the most disliked person on this cast. And it's so funny because he said it like he doesn't understand why. But then what really tickled me was the fact that Tisha and Marsau were like, no, like it's us. And I don't think a lot of people dislike Marsau. I think originally they did because he was such a chauvinist. But Tisha does a lot to be unlikable. And I wonder if she recognizes that, like, or does she feel like Martell, like, I don't know why people dislike me. But as much as people may dislike Tisha, I don't think anybody at this point is more disliked than Tiffany. I think Tiffany and Martell are probably like neck and neck. I mean, nobody's petitioning for you to get fired, Tisha, but Tiffany, bad girl. And of course, if you saw the DJ Richie Sky interview with Carlos King, you know that Tiffany ain't going nowhere because I guess Carlos feels like he hit a gold mine with her because she is drumming up so much conversation. But honestly, I don't know how much of her I can take, and I don't care about her. So if she becomes a major player on the show, I don't know how much more I'm going to continue to watch because she irks me that much. The thing where she called Maurice aggressive, I'm just still not over it. I don't want that kind of behavior perpetuated and rewarded. There is a part where they talk about the title of the show and how Marsau didn't necessarily like it because he felt like, I'm not an expert at relationships, love, and marriage. I'm an expert at building. And they talk about how people feel like the show took a turn from being about all these successful Black folks to being just screaming and yelling and arguing. I personally feel like the show has done a good balance of showing the two. I definitely see all of them as being phenomenal movers and shakers when it comes to business and their professional lives, with the exception of Martell. I feel like where the show went wrong, obviously, was just that one episode, the Tell and Mel just scream fest. That was a really bad move that didn't do anything for the show, in my opinion. But up until that point, I do feel like it was a good mix of us seeing these successful people, seeing them not being satisfied with where they are, but also constantly trying to grow. And then, like in the case of Marsau and Tiffany, trying to figure out how to balance growing and continuing to reach for success and higher levels of success, but also being a thriving member of your family, of your household, and all of that. And the same with Maurice and Kimmy. I love that aspect of the show. That's what I want to see more of. I don't need more of the screaming and arguing. And I know Marsau was like, it seems like people are forgetting all of their successes and all of the work they put in. And I would agree. And I think that that episode completely overshone all of the other work that they've done. So I really hope that they never do another episode like that again. So then the conversation moves to Martell saying that Marsau told him that that Kimmy was the side chick or whatever. I'm really tired of this conversation, and I thought that we were going to get like a lot more information, and we did get more information, but it didn't really do anything for me. I was happy to hear that Maurice said, if this is all true, which I assume it is, that he filed for divorce one time, and that when he left, period. And so he's like, he hasn't been speaking up for Kimmy because it was an impossibility that she could have been a side chick. And I just feel like, whether you feel like it's an impossibility or not, if it's hurting Kimmy, then stand up for her. That's all. That's all. Like, it doesn't matter if you think it's important or not. It's important to her. Her name and her reputation are important to her. So stand up for her. But it was, I liked hearing that he said when he left, and then he met Kimmy. And I think Kimmy made an excellent point to say that it was fine when Maurice had left her and he was dealing with all his little chicks that he was doing stuff with, his 6 women's at one time and all of that and everything. But when he stopped and focused on one, that's when Kiowa's feelings got hurt. That's when Kiowa was like, okay, this girl is ruining my life. Because nobody wants to see the man that they still have feelings for actually become serious about someone else. I get it. Kiowa, I get it. I did love too, because y'all know I love Kimmy. That's my girl. But I love that when Carlos asked her about her relationship with Kiowa, she said that they're working it out. They're figuring things out. And I think that it was really kind of her to call Kiowa in advance of the reunion show and just give her that heads up, because Kaya was not in this reality TV world. So, you know, she probably did need to be alerted that, hey, your name gonna come up again at this reunion. Like, we're gonna have to talk about it. And at no point has Kimmy ever tried to bash Kiowa. At no point has she ever tried to down talk her or anything like that. She said Kiowa feels like I interfered in them being able to work things out. But she's never blamed Kiowa for anything negatively like that. And I respect that a lot. And I hope that this reunion show doesn't do like any further damage. And I think that the fact that she called her in advance probably gives her a layer of protection in that way. So it really shouldn't be no beef. Okay, so then there was this conversation about the toothbrush. And so they're like, well, what did you say, Maurice? And he's like, well, if somebody used your toothbrush, would you want it back? Okay, so Carlos was trying to get Maurice to admit what it was. I do think Maurice is a little bit of a class act. Like, I really love the way he handled Tiffany in that first episode with her. He didn't want to say what he was trying to say, but I think we all picked up what he was putting down. So it sounds like, perhaps, allegedly, Kiowa may have stepped out. It sounds like Kiowa may have been the toothbrush that someone else used. And Maurice is like, okay, you can have it. I don't want to use that toothbrush no more. I get it. We all know that generally men do not recover from a woman having any infidelity. I mean, and if that's what happened, then it makes it very, very clear why Maurice packed up and left and why he went to sow his wild oats, you know? And it also makes it clear why Kiowa can't let go. Yeah, it makes it very clear why she's got a whole husband and she still was having a problem with Kimmy being in the picture, because she wasn't done with Maurice yet. She messed up. And it sounds like she wasn't done with him yet. She was still, you know, having feelings for him. But he bounced on her, and who could blame him? If that's what the toothbrush comment meant. And I think we all believe that that's what the toothbrush comment was about. But I did respect that Maurice wasn't trying to throw that out there like that. He wasn't trying to be dirty. I appreciate that, and I respect that, because after all, Kiowa is his son's mother. Okay? Anyways, so they show this little package of several scenes with Martell and Melody, and I gotta tell you, every single time I see them do these little montages of the two of them, my favorite part is when Melody is like, sign the papers. Like, Martell, you going around telling everybody how you wanted to divorce her and all of that. Sign the papers. Like, what is the holdup, sir? Because he was not trying to let that woman go. Like, not at all. So let's quit playing that game. Even though the rest of it makes me sad. But the sign the papers part, the shut up and let's cut the BS, that's my jam. I won't even lie. So Melody is saying that Martell constantly contradicts himself. This fool had the nerve to ask when. She's like, we just saw where you said I'm not a cheater. But we all know you cheated. And he's talking about, well, I'm not a cheater in my heart. Fool. This nut said, I'm not a cheater in my heart. What does that mean, sir? You developed a full multi-year relationship with a woman outside of your wife. You procreated with her. Please help me understand what it looks like when a person is a cheater at heart and when they're not, because I'm completely confused. Either I am or he is. Like, anyways, my lips are so dry, y'all. I'm sorry. So we get kind of like an update, a refresh on the timeline of their situation. So Carlos kind of reminds us that, you know, season 2, they were back together. You know, we get a little clip and we get to see them talking about it's Team Hope forever, you know, and all of this and everything. And then the pandemic hits. Woo, child. Don't hate on my Rick and Morty mug. If you don't know Rick and Morty, then really, what are you doing? Anyways, so the pandemic comes. Everybody's supposed to be at home where it's safe, away from the big ugly monster outside. And he's again leaving the house for hours at a time. Carlos said, "Where you going?" He said, "The gym." Carlos said, "Well, the gym's is closed." "Not my gym." Bruh. Like, seriously. I felt bad for Melody in this moment because it was making it so very clear how much he actually loved this other girl. Whether it was love, lust, addiction, I don't know. But many of us were not seeing our parents. There were parents not seeing their children. You know, I had a young man who used to work for me who lost his mother during this time simply because she had fallen, and the family was trying to not visit her, and no one knew she had fallen. So this was a very, very extreme part of our lives where we were all sacrificing being able to see, touch, kiss, hug, caress, all of that, many of our loved ones, and you were still leaving out of the house to go be with this other woman. I'm with Melody. Deal breaker. Like, I can no longer accept this. Like, you're putting, we don't know, just remember, like, when at the height of the pandemic, none of us really knew what this thing was, how intense it was going to be, how many people were going to die, how many people were going to end up with lifelong symptoms and effects of it. And you're exposing me and my 4 children, the 5th child is his with the other girl, my 4 children to this mess so you can tiptoe out and do whatever the hell you want to do. Pardon my French, F you. Bye. I do not blame Melody at all. Bye, sir. Anyways, so as they talk about the fact that the other girl got pregnant during this time, Martell, he's so proud of himself. I created a baby with this woman. I'm proud. He's smiling. He's smirking. He feels good. Oh, he's so nasty. It's terrible. Like, I really feel like he's horrible. I really, really feel like he's horrible. So he very arrogantly says, well, let's add up the timeline. So Carlos is like, well, give us the timeline. But then he doesn't want to give that information. You just want to make sure that we're all thinking about it because you're proud of yourself. You feel good about what you did. I got me a little young thing. Anyways. So then Melody starts talking about how he was telling her how she needs to accept him cheating. And she needs to talk to the older women of the community. And I think I made a video a long time ago. I don't remember if it was a Love and Marriage Huntsville video or what. But I was saying, in my opinion, there is no freaking badge of honor in holding somebody down who's disrespecting you. I'm sorry. I know a lot of our grandmothers did it. I know a lot of our grandmothers kept washing drawers and making meals for somebody who was coming home late as hell all the time from being with the other family. I ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. There is no badge of honor in that. There's no badge of honor in taking in the kids that he had with his mistress and all of that kind of crap later. Kids need to be taken care of, yes, but that ain't great. Why am I holding you down and you're not holding me down? Please make it make sense. Anyway, so he's telling her that she needs to talk to the older women because, of course, they're going to tell her that you just, you know, you got to let men be men. You know, that bull. Anyways, and so she's like, well, maybe you should talk to the older men, because she's naive enough to think that the older men are going to tell him that he needs to respect his wife and come home. But no, she's like, the older men told him, you need to choose your other woman wisely, and you need to make sure she got something to lose, and you need to get a contract, whatever other nonsense. And so it hit her that he was never planning on actually changing his ways. He was only planning to get her to change and accept his ways. And maybe he would be a little more respectful by hiding it a little better. The hell? Anyways, so she decided that that's when she was leaving. And so she began to recall when she first found out about this other girl, which was back in like 2017. And this was before Love and Marriage Huntsville was even a show. And, she said, we heard about this on the show before, about how his phone was ringing. She answered it. The girl was like, I didn't call your phone. I called his phone, put him on the phone. Ooh, girl. When I tell you my little Mercedes would have been on two wheels, because I'd had to come and find sis. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to disrespect me like that. I would have had to find sis real fast. Oh, let me look. I'm sorry, I'm not condoning violence, but I would have had to find sis. Anyways, so what was the part? So she became all upset. Believe me, I understand. She became all upset. They're arguing, they're fighting, and all of this. And Martell then begins to say that Marsau and Melody were inappropriate. Bruh, shut the hell up, okay? So apparently what happened is that when they're screaming and yelling, Van, Mel's mom, who was also working for Scout, which is the Holtz and Scott's business, contacted Marsau to say, hey, like, it's going down over here. They screaming and yelling. I'm worried about the kids, whatever. Marsau says he then called Martell, because that's his boy. And Martell is not answering the phone. So Marsau then calls Melody, because that's my boy's wife. I want them to be okay. I'm going to do the responsible thing. And I do respect Marsau for that, because I do believe that he truly values that couple and his relationship with them. I think that he started out friends with Martell, but I've said this a time or two, that I believe that he truly has a connection and a mutual respect for Melody. I don't see it as a sexual attraction, but I think he has a respect for Melody. So he called her, and they met up somewhere, and he's trying to calm her down. He just wants to make sure that the family is going to be okay. Martell, completely disregarding the fact that the reason she is hurt, the reason she's screaming and yelling and upset, the reason Marsau is trying to console her is because your big head behind is out there cheating on her, is talking about it was inappropriate for Marsau to ask her to drinks. Shut up! Like, he's not saying like, hey, Mel, you want to go talk about this over some drinks? No. He's saying, let me get my sister and we sit down and talk. Let me calm her down. This is serious. Let's have some drinks while we talking. Like, I could completely see it. I don't see it as inappropriate at all. And I really pray that Tisha didn't see it as inappropriate. I don't see it as inappropriate at all. I see him trying to save your family that you are hell-bent on screwing up. How dare you try to turn it into something nasty? Like, how dare you? And I really appreciated that Melody is like, Marsau has never flirted with me. Like, he ain't never said no sideways words or tried to touch whatever. And I believe her. I don't see Marsau coming at Melody in that way at all. For some reason, he loves Martell's ignorant behind. And I believe that he has a true love for his family, including Melody and the kids. Martell, though, constantly trying to make it into a thing is just once again him putting responsibility on any and everybody except himself. He can never be the responsible party. And Marsau is like, bro, I tried to call you. You ain't pick up the phone. So of course I'm going to call your wife next. I need to make sure that the family is okay. And he did the right thing. He did the right thing. Ooh, Martell. Mama Hope, what did you do? And And then he claims that Marsau apologized to him, and Marsau was like, I didn't apologize for nothing. Anyways, let's see. So then this creep, and by creep I mean Martell, decides to make up this story about how Melody is giving some other dude fellatio even though she wasn't doing it for him all the time. Woo, child, this one, it really got good. Oh my goodness. So he and Carlos are asking Melody point blank, did you give fellatio to another man while you all were legally married? Melody said, once I moved out, she said, let me take that back. She said, no, but somebody performed it on me. And when I tell you I was clapping, I know. I was wrong because they were still legally married. But I was clapping. I was like, yes! I ain't right, and I know. But damn. I could understand sis had a little tit for tat moment. Like, okay, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And she said, which I believe her, she said at that moment, I had moved out. And although they were still married on paper, she's like, I had never planned on going back. So, you know, and I get it that there is a huge debate on whether it's moral or immoral to, you know, see someone else when you're separated but still legally married. And I'm not quite sure where I fall in there. Like, I feel like people do what people are going to do. I feel like your intentions make a big difference. But she's like, look, I had moved out. So do I feel like she cheated on Martell? I don't. I feel like she had just learned that her husband was cheating on her. They had 3 children at the time, and she just learned that her husband is cheating on her. She filed for a divorce. She moved out of the house, and she was going on to live her life. So he keeps saying that she told him that she did it to the guy. And she's saying she doesn't recall doing it. I don't never trust stuff when people be like, well, I don't recall. That's suspicious. And so later Carlos asked her, like, you know, that sound real shady. Talking about I don't recall. And I thought she gave a good explanation. She's like, because as far as I'm concerned, I did not. She's like, I did not. But if he keeps saying that I did and he's claiming that he has a recording, then maybe I did say that. But she's like, but I don't recall ever doing that. So I get it. I think it's one of those things where like you like, okay, I didn't do that. But if somebody keep trying to convince you that they have proof that you did, then you kind of like, well, maybe like, you know, I don't know. But Martell is talking about he recorded the whole thing, and I call bull. You ain't record nothing. Because back then, you were still so arrogant and high and mighty on yourself that you didn't believe for a second that woman was ever leaving you. You would have had 0 reasons to be recording your conversations with her. I don't believe it. I don't believe you recorded anything. So anyway, so they ended up working things out after she's seen this other man. And for that moment, I was happy, and I wasn't right. But I was happy that she went and got her some. I know y'all can tell me how you feel about it in the comments. So they ended up getting back together, got pregnant with Melania. And then, of course, they ended up breaking up again once he went dipping back in. So Carlos talks a lot about him being drawn to this other woman. And so I went from being up here high that Melody crushed his little ego and told him somebody did it on me to feeling so low and so sad for her. Even if she's over Martell, even if she's done with him, no woman wants to hear that someone who they loved while they were supposedly in a loving marriage had such strong, intense feelings for someone else. So Carlos, I felt like, was a little insensitive, although I don't believe it was intentional. I think he was just doing his job. But he really, really, really illustrated how intense Martell's feelings must have been for this other girl. And he's like, they're calling her coleslaw or whatever, but she was the whole damn restaurant because you was willing to risk life and limb to be with her. Like, you were so drawn to keep going back there. And it was just really, really hard to watch. And you see Martell with this smirk on his face because he knows this is hurting Melody. And even though he would take her back in a heartbeat if she would have him back, he can't stand the idea of her winning over him. And this makes him feel like he's winning. So Carlos then, of course, asks if you had met her before Melody, would you and Melody have ever been married? And you can just see the actual literal elation in Martell's face, knowing that this is his opportunity to stick it to her. This is his opportunity to hurt her the way his ego has been hurt by her leaving. And that, honestly, y'all, it just kind of broke my heart. It really, really broke my heart. That was so sad and so hard for me to watch. Oh, he is just such a creep. The good thing is that Mel really does have, I think, a great future ahead of herself. And those 4 beautiful babies. Like, if you follow her Instagram and her little posts of the little kids, they just so adorable. That little sugar mama, I wouldn't ever be able to tell her no about nothing. Her little face, her little smile, it's just too much. Like, she would just have me out here looking a fool. Anyways, so I really thought that this reunion was a really, really, really good episode. I really can't wait to see the next part 2 of the reunion, because it looks like that is going to be very good as well. I'm interested in how they're going to keep us entertained for 3 parts, though, because this first part has been intense, and it looks like the second part is going to be equally intense. So what y'all gonna give us in this third part? Because next week we're gonna get to see Kimmy and Marcel having some words for like Tiffany and Louis. And I love that Kimmy is going to address that whole Louis trying to act tough when Tiffany was out there mowing her lawn. I was about to say when Karen. When Tiffany was out there mowing her lawn bare feet, and Louis is all talking about he lucky I ain't had that extra shot. Oh yes, I really want to see that conversation happen. Anyways, okay, so that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.